It is time for another 24-hour readathon, and this time I'm going to attempt to stay up all night. And we shall see if I regret the decision later. This video is sponsored by Parade, more on them later. Okay, so obviously I am not in my house. I am at my parents' house in Florida for a few reasons. Reason number one being that Webster graduated from Service Dog College yesterday. He matched with an 8-year-old girl who uses a wheelchair, and I'm so happy that Webster has graduated and gets to be her companion and do tasks for her and help her regain some independence. The second reason I am here is this sweet boy. This is Shadow, my parents' cat. My parents are both currently out of town, so I am pet sitting this lovely little beast. So it's currently 10:30. I have been reading since about 8:15 when I woke up this morning. And the book I have started with is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This is maybe my most anticipated book of the year. I've been waiting for T. Kingfisher to write a longer book for a few years now, and I'm very excited because this audiobook is 11 hours and 8 minutes, which makes it a standard length novel. I am almost halfway through, and I'm loving it so much. It's a Goose Squirrel retelling, and I remember reading this book when I was younger and absolutely loving it. I don't think I've ever read the original Brothers Grimm fairy tale, and I'm assuming T. Kingfisher's version is going to be quite dark, like the original tale, I assume, was. Our main character is the daughter of this sorceress, and she fears her mother. Her mother is not a good person. Kind of her only respite has been riding this horse that she has. What's happened now is there's been some deaths that have happened in their town, and they've had to flee the town. And now her mother is trying to seduce this man. And the thing that I love about T. Kingfisher's books is that the magic systems in them are always so well thought out, and there's limits on the magic. So in this situation, she has to be very careful with the way that she uses her magic, because a wedding ceremony will basically cancel out any magic that has been used. I think it's like salt, sugar, wine on sacred ground cancels any spells. So I'm very interested to see how that's going to come into play later in the book. Our main character is 14, but her mother is trying to pass her off as 17. Cordelia's mother is trying to seduce the squire, and Hester is his sister. She's 50 years old. She's our other main character. I'm really happy that we have both an older character and a younger character. I feel like every single character we see in books nowadays is like 16 to 25. And I just really love that we're getting a 14-year-old and a 50-year-old in an adult fantasy novel, and those are our two main characters. I'm loving everything about it. I no longer have cat paralysis because Shadow has just left my lap, so I'm gonna pop my headphones back on. We're gonna go for a nice long walk and listen to some more of A Sorceress Comes to Call, and hopefully we can go sit in the pool and do some reading as well. Our plans to sit by the pool were thwarted by a storm, so I finished A Sorceress Comes to Call instead. I loved it. I'm gonna give it 5 stars, and if you've been here for a while, it's been a long time since I've given a new T. Kingfisher release 5 stars, and I'm so happy that I loved every single moment of this. It's dark, it's gross, there is a headless animal described in depth. There is an event, a murder, if you will, that sets off this plot to overthrow our sorceress and figure out how to stop her. And we have this funny little group of characters who is coming together to try to stop this, and they all have really big personalities and different personalities, and it was just really quite lovely. And a fantastic start to our 24-hour readathon. Before we get any further into the reading shenanigans, I do need to tell you about the sponsor of this video, which is Parade, who I adore, so I'm so excited to be getting to work with them on this video. Today I have the most adorable summer bralette to share with you. This is the Replay Scoop bralette in the color Tide Pool Gingham. How cute is this print? I think it is perfect for soaking up those last few rays of summer sunshine. And I love bralettes, but I kind of despise having to wriggle in and out of them, so I love that this one has the hook and eye closure so you can take it on and off super easily. Let's talk fabric. I have said this before, I will say it again. I am usually a cotton girly for all of my bralettes and underwear, but Parade just has the most incredible fabrics. This bralette specifically uses the replay fabric, and it is so buttery soft. Plus, it's sustainable. The replay fabric is made from rescued materials that would usually be wasted in the production process. So you can look amazing, wear the softest bralette, and feel good about the production process. What's not to love? If you want to check this out and other Parade products, you can check out the link in my description and use code KatieReads40 for 40% off your entire order. Thank you so much to Parade for sponsoring this video. Back on to the readathon. Now it is time to pick our second book. I think I'm gonna try to sit out here or possibly sit in the pool while we do a little bit of reading. I'm gonna pick up The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is a thriller that I've been wanting to get to for a long time. I think our main character is stuck in a time loop, so he keeps going back to try to save this person from dying. And I don't know any more than that, so let's get into it. I am on chapter 4 of The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I am about to run out to the store to get some snacks and treats for tonight because it's going to be a long night, and I will need something to keep myself awake, and the excitement of food may be enough to do that. But before we go, let me tell you what I've thought. First impressions, 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. Our main character in the first scene is running through the woods, thinks he sees a woman being murdered, shouts the name Anna, has like a weird run-in with the person who he thinks killed this woman, and then realizes that he actually has no memories and he has complete amnesia and he doesn't know what he's doing, who he is, who Anna is, and what's going on at all. So it's very interesting because I feel like we've been chucked into the center of the action, but so has our main character really, because he also has no idea what's going on. Okay, let's go get some snacks. I want to get some ice cream and then something for like a late night meal or a snack of some kind. Onwards to Publix. Okay, we have a grocery haul. First up, Red Bull, because I'm sure I will get sleepy tonight. I also got these things. They're raspberry and brie puffs. Last time I tried to stay up all night for a 24-hour readathon, we made pizza rolls, so I feel like these are just elevated pizza rolls. And I got more Jenny's ice cream, so raspberry lavender, and then I haven't tried salty caramel yet, so we'll try that together. And to balance things out, we also have some fruit, which I think leaked absolutely everywhere, but still tastes great. Let's go head outside to read and we'll soak up the last sun of the day. So I am in fact at the bookstore and we are gonna go purchase a book. I just feel like I want something physically to read. I think the Kindle is fine for most things, but I want like a fast-paced thriller or a horror book that we can read tonight so that I can feel like I have accomplishment looking at the pages turn. I want it, I need it. Let's go shopping. I have made it back with a coffee and a book, so we are ready for the second half of our readathon. It's nearly 8 p.m., which means I've nearly been reading for 12 hours straight. My brain feels a little bit like mush, so hopefully this will help. I got a little cappuccino. I went to Books A Million, and there isn't one near me in Charlotte, but it's kind of cool. Like their coffee shop had a lot of, from page to cup, I think they called it, book-inspired drinks. So there was a Harry Potter one, there was a Fourth Wing one, there was a Lord of the Rings one. It was very interesting and very fun. I loved that idea, but I'm boring. So I just got a cappuccino because I need the caffeine. I am becoming very, very worried about the state of my brain. as we continue doing this because I'm already tired. The sun is just going down now, so the second half of this is going to be spent primarily in the dark, and I am scared for what's about to come. Let's talk about my selection. I almost got this because it looks stunning, but I feel like I've read this type of story a lot recently. Like I just read Ripe, which was a startup-y type situation. I read Rouge by Mona Awad recently. I guess technically not recently, that was a year ago. And then also Natural Beauty. So let me know, have you guys read this? Did you like it? Is it worth picking up even if I feel like I've read this concept 3 or 4 times already recently? And then I very nearly almost grabbed Little Eve by Katrina Ward. Something about this being set in Scotland and being horror really calls to me, but I don't know. I did really like The House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward, but I'm not sure if we're gonna vibe as reader and author in other books. So I picked this up because it's shorter, so I feel like that'll give us a sense of accomplishment. It's horror. It's a couple who's going on a date. This is their first date. They're 17 years old. They canoe to this lake, and at the bottom of the lake there's a house, and they go and they explore the house. I don't know, horrifying things ensue. Kayla from Books and Lala likes it, and we tend to have very similar taste in weird books, so I am excited to read this when my brain is a little delirious at 5 in the morning. I also need to update you on the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I love this book so much. I'm having so much fun, and I'm so happy because I feel like this readathon is going so well. I'm liking everything that I'm reading. A readathon, especially a 24-hour readathon, sucks if you hate everything that you're reading. I'm of two minds about telling you about this plot point because I didn't realize that this was the case before I picked up the book, and I probably would have picked it up a lot sooner if I had realized this, but I did kind of like finding that twist out. So maybe I'll do this. If you absolutely want to know nothing going into this book, I'll put a little spoiler up here. Skip until that's gone. Yeah, it is definitely in the synopsis, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything, but if you super don't want to know anything, skip until spoilers is no longer on the screen. Our main character is inhabiting 8 different people. So he has 8 days to solve this murder. He's doing it from the lens, like he's inhabiting the body of 8 different people. So it's just so interesting because we get to see his personality, but he's also being changed by each of these people that he's inhabiting. Some of them are smarter than others. Some of them are crueler than others. You kind of get to see their personalities affecting him and like kind of fighting back a little bit, and that is super interesting to read. And we're also getting this thing that I love in mystery thrillers where you're in a bunch of different characters' heads, but you're still kind of in the same character's head, so you feel really attached to this one character, but you still get to see the problem from all different angles. And it's also got like kind of a time travel-y type element in it, which it's just checking all my boxes. I'm having just the most fun reading it and listening to it. I managed to get both the ebook and the audiobook from my library, so I've just been switching between the two. The audiobook is super well produced as well, would highly recommend the audiobook. I'm having a really lovely time. I'm gonna go sit outside and drink my caffeine, and we will continue reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I am 39% of the way through this. I'm gonna go outside and read. I am likely just gonna check in with you when I have finished reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, unless there's something that I feel like you need to be present for. It's 2 in the morning. We are two very sleepy kitties. But I have finished reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I did have to take a shower in the middle there because I was falling asleep. The shower has awoken me, and we finished our book. I am at the point of tired where I am just freezing cold, so let me put this sweatshirt on. Okay, I am giving this book a 4. Do you feel like we're having a sleepover yet? I feel sleepover delirious right now. I just want to go to bed. I really like this book. I wasn't sure if we were going to get the explanation of why our main character is in this place trying to solve this murder and why he's reliving the same day over and over again. And we did get that explanation, and I did enjoy it. I did like where it came from. It was, I don't know, it added a whole nother element to the situation. And I'm not entirely sure if I would have preferred this to just be like an unexplained supernatural something, or if I liked having a reason behind it. But if you were wondering if we find out why they're there, we do find out why they're there. There were many twists and turns. I enjoyed all of them. The only reason why it isn't a 5-star, and I could see how potentially on reread this could be a 5-star, knowing how everything wraps up and like getting the grasp of the whole situation. I think it could be really fun to read it again and see all of those Easter eggs play out on reread. And it's also potentially because I'm a very sleepy bear right now. If I had started with this book, it might have been 5 stars, but I feel confident in my 4-star. I'm definitely going to recommend this book if you like a time travel type story, if you like a fast-paced thriller, if you like a time loop, if you like a countdown, if you like those types of stories. I think you're really, really going to enjoy this, and I'm definitely going to recommend this as like one of the most enjoyable thrillers that I've read. I thought it was super well written, and I would read from this author again in the future. It is now 2:23 in the morning, and we need to figure out what our game plan is, because technically we have 6-ish more hours that we could be reading. Why do we have 6 more hours? I don't want to read for 6 more hours. I want to go to sleep. I'm so tired. Why did I think this was a good idea? The cat is even asleep. Look at this cat. He's so sleepy. He's nocturnal and he's asleep right now. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should, in typical sleepover fashion, go raid my freezer. Let's try some ice creams. Let's put some brie, raspberry, whatever pastry situations in the oven, and we'll go from there. Okay, we have 2 ice creams to try. I've technically already tried this one on camera for you guys in another video, but it's just my favorite ice cream flavor, and I couldn't not get it. So this is wild berry lavender. Some people think this tastes like soap, but I personally love the way that it tastes. Who doesn't want to eat purple foods? Look at that. You're telling me you wouldn't love to eat this soap? Delicious. This one I have not tried before, but I felt like salted caramel would be great. It's actually one of my dad's favorite ice cream flavors. So when he comes home later this week, I'm sure I won't eat all of this before Friday, so he can try this too. Okay, it doesn't look very cool. It just looks, it's exactly the same color as this sweatshirt that I stole from Daniel. Thanks, Dan. That's so good. Jenny's makes such good ice cream. Like, it tastes like caramel. It has that brown butter taste to it. That is so good. Yeah, on the thing here it says fire toasted sugar, and that's what it tastes. It has some like smokiness. It's 2:30 in the morning. I don't know how to explain this other than it tastes burnt, but in a good way. And I think fire roasted. I think their marketing team got it right. Fire roasted. It makes sense. I am very happy with this ice cream. It's so creamy too. Wow, that's so good. I feel so revived by that sugar. Speaking of sugar, we have Red Bulls to try. Actually, I'm gonna save these for later. The sugar is gonna give me some energy, and then when I'm crashing from the sugar in half an hour, we can drink these. Okay, my brain is so slow right now. Let's cook some of these things. I'm not hungry, but I need to be doing things, otherwise I will fall asleep. So we're gonna cook some of these. While these are in the oven, I'm gonna start reading The House at the Bottom of the Lake. While I'm doing that, I need you to tell me in the comments what your favorite silly thing you did at a sleepover was. I want to know what your sleepover shenanigans were. Because a month or two ago, my friend was moving, and so she ended up having a sleepover at my house with me, and I just feel like, I don't know, sometimes I wonder about how my friendships would be with people that I know now. If I had met them when I was 11, it was just really fun to have that experience with a friend that I know as an adult and see that we really do just become giggly weirdos at 2 in the morning when we're exhausted, and that makes me proud to be a human. So tell me your silly sleepover stories in the comments. They're here. Some of them don't look so great. Others look beautiful. Let's try these and see if they are what I need right now. That is delectable. Yeah, it's like a little puff pastry with brie and raspberry jam. What's not to love about that? I've also started reading this. Let's go sit and talk about it. I'm already like 68 pages into this. I think only like a half an hour passed. I'll be done with this so soon. The font is very large and it's a lot of dialogue, so it's going by very quickly. I love this. It's so foreboding and creepy, but also very sweet and tender because we're watching these 17-year-olds fall in love and also explore this super weird house that's just sitting there at the bottom of the lake. And it's like very pristine and there's furniture in it. Yes, Shadow? What do you think about it? Would you go and visit it? If you could have kitty scuba gear? I know you'd be there in your little dive suit exploring the house. I don't know what I was saying. I'm enjoying it. It's a really great juxtaposition of heartwarming, that was a big word for me to say at 3 a.m. Heartwarming two teenagers falling in love. They're both a little awkward, they're both a little weird. It's very tender, and then also like super foreboding, feeling like the house is like calling to them. So I'm having a good time with it. Let's do a Red Bull taste test. That's what I need right now. Can you believe we still have 5 hours left to go? This is what I used to survive off of when I had a caffeine addiction. I think maybe the last time I had this was maybe like my freshman or sophomore year of college. Blueberry Red Bull. Let's try it. Ah, tastes like cramming for cell and molecular biology. Back when I had a caffeine addiction, I used to have like most of the caffeine content of most energy drinks memorized. This is gonna sound so bad, but I was trying not to go over a gram of caffeine. For reference, a 5-hour energy is 200 milligrams. Why were we drinking that much caffeine? Great question. Shadow would like to go to bed. Point being, I'm pretty sure this has 120, but that seems low because a 5-hour energy is 200. But we're gonna find out. It's gotta be on here somewhere. They have to print it. Wow, it's only 80 milligrams now? That feels lower. Maybe these are the smaller cans. Maybe it was the bigger ones that have 120. I'm also gonna crack this open. It's dragon fruit flavored. Wanna hear another weird story of things that my friends did? When we were children, we had ski club at school. I don't know how that was possible, but I loved it. One of my friends had gotten from concessions this like dragon fruit flavor. That's why I'm telling you this story. It was a dragon fruit flavored thing. And then for some reason, the entire rest of the day, we all chanted, "Don't do drugs, do dragon fruit." So once again, that will be my motto today. Can someone explain to me why dragon fruit does not taste like this? Because like that tastes good. Dragon fruit flavored things taste delicious. But dragon fruit itself kind of tastes like water. I was severely disappointed when I ate an actual dragon fruit. I know. Why do they flavor things as dragon fruit if actual dragon fruit tastes super lame? These are gonna give me a stomach ache. I hope you have enjoyed tuning into sleep-deprived woman reminisces on weird childhood stories that she definitely should not be telling strangers on the internet. Let's finish this book and then we'll see how many brain cells I have left. This cat is so happy because usually he gets put away in the laundry room at night because otherwise he meows at all hours of the night and nobody gets any sleep. But no one's getting any sleep tonight anyways, so he gets to hang out. So he's a very happy kitty. I finished this. I loved it. You guys are gonna hate me, especially those of you who, if this is your first video that you're seeing on my channel, I promise you, normally I am more coherent than this, and normally I do not give everything 5 stars, but I think I'm giving it 5 stars. It was perfect. If you don't like an ambiguous ending, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna hate it so much. You're gonna despise this book. If you want things to be explained, you're gonna hate it. If you want things to be like properly scary, you might not like it. It's more like foreboding than it is actual like straight up horror. But I just ate it up. I love everything about it. It was creepy. It was about teenage love. I just really love when authors are able to accurately depict teenagers because there's a lot of teenagers in books. And I feel like oftentimes they don't act like teenagers, but recently I've been getting a lot of authors who really know how to write teenagers, and I appreciate that. My first Josh Malerman, 5 stars. Very excited about that. Should I read Bird Box next? You guys let me know if you like Bird Box or not. I don't think I ever watched the movie. You guys let me know if Bird Box is something that I should read. I'm so tired. Da, 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 da. Can you see that? It's 4:45. I am sleepy. Obviously. About 15 minutes ago, I had the bright idea that we should watch the sunrise together because I'll be awake for it for approximately 30 seconds. I was under the impression that I should drive to the beach and we should watch the sunrise there, but then I realized it's probably not the safest. There's a study that says that if you haven't slept in 24 hours, it's the same as if your blood alcohol content was like 0.10, which is over the legal limit, so we should definitely not drive without sleeping. Don't 24-hour readathon and drive, kids. My eyeballs hurt. I want to go to sleep. Anyways, sunrise is at 6:51. I really wish that there was someone else in this house that I could wake up and make them drive me to the beach because I want to see the sunrise over the beach because I'm awake right now. I want to be this adorable little cat right now. Look how happy he is. How are you that cute? That should be illegal. Book. I read now. Reading is so fun. Don't you love reading? For 24 hours straight and not sleeping is so fun. How many hours do I have left? 3 hours? 4 hours? 3 hours. 3.5. There we go. 20 hours and 30 minutes. So we have 3.5 hours. How am I going to be awake for 3.5 hours? 3.5 hours ago, it was 1 a.m. I could read Moon of the Crusted Snow. It feels too warm to read Moon of the Crusted Snow, though. I think maybe I'll wait and read it when it's colder. Oh, wow, this lighting is atrocious. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna read this. I'll see you when we decide if we're gonna make the trek to the pond for sunrise. Okay, it is 6:43 in the morning. I managed to stay awake. I'm 95% sure. I think I may have dozed off for maybe like 2 minutes there. I have taken to just pacing around the house to stay awake because I physically cannot keep myself awake any longer. I am halfway through reading The Art Thief, which is a really interesting nonfiction, and I almost bought it in the airport because it sounded really, really interesting. Is this story of this couple who kind of Bonnie and Clyde or thefted things, thieved, stole. One of those words is correct, probably. Oh, my brain is mush. It's interesting. It got a little dull there in the middle for a little bit, but we're kind of back in some more interesting things. They've just been arrested for a theft. But basically we're learning about who this guy is, who his girlfriend is, why they stole so much art. They never sold any of it. They just like kept it in their room, and he kind of gives Raskolnikov vibes from Crime and Punishment, because he's like, yeah, stealing art to sell would be super wrong, but stealing art because you love the art and you want to cherish the art, and museums don't allow you enough access to the art, so that's why I'm stealing the art. So it's okay for me to do, but it's not okay for everyone else to do it, is basically the vibe that this guy is giving. So yeah, super, super interesting. But my friends, I think we are gonna have to call it here because I cannot stay awake. I'm like pacing around the house to stay awake. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna commit to finishing this book because I have an hour and 24 minutes left. But if I try to do this right now, I will fall asleep. We made it until the sun came up. Look, there's no lights on in the house. This is all sunrise. I'm gonna go sleep for as long as I can sleep. When I have a brain that is coherent, I will finish the last hour and a half of this and we will recap the readathon. But we did it. I've never successfully stayed up all night until the sun came up. I think the only other time I've done that in high school before. I think I did it once in college, but not in my adult life have I ever successfully stayed up all night. So this may be the most successful 24-hour readathon we've ever done. I'm gonna go to bed. I will see you later. Hello, my loves. I'm feeling much better after having slept. I slept until about 2 p.m. I actually had a hard time falling asleep, so I stayed up until about 7 a.m. So I only had like 57 minutes of this audiobook left to finish when I finally woke up today. So I have finished it. I did enjoy it. I think I'm gonna give it like a 3. I'm sure it could get a higher rating if I had more of my brain cells when I was reading it yesterday. I guess technically earlier this morning. I enjoyed it. It went through this guy's whole entire life, from how they ended up catching him to all of these various trials that he went through, to how his relationship with his mother and his girlfriend changed, and how his life happened after he got out of prison, and all of this. I really enjoyed the conversations in here about why he stole the art. That was what was most interesting to me, and how he just had this desire to have these nice things, and he talked a lot about how he was a collector, not a thief. But then you see what he ends up doing after he gets out of prison for those crimes, and you start to question that. I thought that the author did a really good job of portraying a very well-rounded view of it. Like, he was giving all sides of the story. It wasn't too sensationalized in the way that he was kind of giving everyone's opinion. It's clear that this author has a soft spot for this man, but was trying to give all people's opinions on how he acted and his motivations and all that sort of thing. I did feel a little disconnected from the characters. Like, the way that it was written kind of took me out of these interviews where it could have been just dialogue, and instead it was, he said this, and then he said this, and then he said this, and then this one said this. And it was just, that part just got a little bit annoying, took me out of the story a little bit, but otherwise, I had a good time. And with that, we have completed our 24-hour readathon. We read 4 books, and 3 of those were like full-size books, so I am shocked and very happy with the reading that we got done. I loved 3 of them and liked 1 of them, so we had a really fantastic reading day. I can't believe it's only been 1 day that we read all of those things in. My brain feels like a pile of mushy peas. So let me know. I'll link all of the previous 24-hour readathons in the description below. Let me know what your favorite iteration of the 24-hour readathon has been. Do you like watching me lose my mind and stay up all night? Do you prefer me to spread it out across the course of 5 or so days? Do you like the 7 books in 7 days instead, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. I also want you to tell me what you thought of any of these books, if you've read them. If your opinions are different than mine, I would love to hear them. And let me know what you have been reading, what you've been getting up to, any books that you would read if you had to stay up all night. Okay, I love you all very much. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. If you're new here, I hope that you'll subscribe and stick around for more Katie rubs her last 2 remaining brain cells together and makes content out of it. Thank you again to Parade for sponsoring this video. I will see you next week. Bye!